Thank you for joining me here this afternoon. The time is now 3:26 p.m. Central, 4:26 p.m. Eastern, and you have a live look at an ongoing severe weather outbreak across sections of the Tennessee Valley. So, we had our stream yesterday where we discussed that this was going to be a potential happening event today, where we were going to have that threat for severe storms and tornadoes, and that has played out since, alright? This morning we had a damaging tornado rip across sections of central Kentucky here. It ended up impacting several small towns. It was quite a strong tornado. It had a big-time debris signature with it. And right now we do have a severe thunderstorm moving towards the small town of Harlan, Kentucky. This is one for quarter-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, just one of these little baby supercells that managed to barely become severe limit. So, again, if you're in this area, make sure that you are moving indoors. We do have a mesoscale discussion here going out for sections of Tennessee. Just give me just a second, let me catch my breath, because I did just kind of run in here and get going, because we really have quite a bit of stuff to discuss today. Let me get stream chat up here. If you have any questions about your location, feel free to leave them all down below. Give me just a second here, chat. For some reason, the stream is not popping up quite yet. But anyways, we do have a mesoscale discussion out for sections of Tennessee here, mentioning the threat for a potential tornado or severe thunderstorm watch to be issued within the next couple hours or so. Again, we got that slight risk of severe weather spanning across sections of central Tennessee, all the way from areas like Knoxville back through Nashville. This is mainly driven by a damaging wind and large hail threat, but an isolated tornado or two cannot be ruled out. A 2% tornado risk has been issued for sections of Appalachia, including most of Tennessee, southeastern Kentucky, and southwestern Virginia here. Again, we could definitely see an isolated brief tornado. Again, we had quite a strong one this morning up into portions of central Kentucky. Today, the threat is mostly centered over parts of Tennessee with damaging winds. Now, if we take a look at the HRRR model here, we can see that we're going to have a very interesting setup in terms of storm mode with this event. So, obviously, we've got these supercells ongoing across the Kentucky-Tennessee state line, and they're quite intense, but around 5 p.m., we can see they kind of explode here into one big cluster of cells likely across the Tennessee-Kentucky state line with isolated strong to severe storms outside of that. And then eventually, we're going to see that kind of develop into a little bit of a line of storms, maybe even a mini MCS event here across sections of northeast Tennessee and southeastern Kentucky around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Could definitely be talking about damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour and large hail as well, and that line will continue to sweep through sections of Tennessee and even North Carolina throughout the late nighttime hours with heavy rain, gusty winds, and even maybe some small hail. So again, we've already had some destructive storms out there today, especially across sections of Kentucky and Tennessee, but things are going to continue here. This is a full-scale severe weather outbreak at this point. Again, luckily, we've only had the one tornado, but it was quite a strong one, and we definitely could see another isolated tornado or two later into this evening, as we are going to have just a little bit of Cape and quite a bit of wind shear to fire off some severe storms and tornadoes. Again, if we take a look at the Cape values here on the surface level, according to the HRRR, we can see that we are expecting those to remain mostly on the lower side of things, but we do have some that are going to be a little bit higher than we were originally thinking, right? So we got close to 1,500 joules per kilogram of Cape right now across sections of Kentucky and northern Tennessee, even getting a little bit over that at times. Usually you need about 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram of Cape to fire off severe storms, and then obviously the other big ingredient that you need for severe weather is going to be wind shear, and we do have plenty of that. If you watched our stream yesterday, you will know we've got quite a bit of wind shear cranking out here, even in the lower levels of the atmosphere, but especially within the first 6 kilometers of the atmosphere, we have quite a lot of that bulk shear just traveling across sections of the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. So again, if you're out here today, make sure to be prepared for a couple of isolated tornadoes as well as severe storms with damaging winds and large hail up to quarter size. So we do have a cluster of strong to severe storms right now across sections of western Kentucky, southeast Illinois, and extreme southwest Indiana, and these are mainly going to remain sub-severe, but they have had some flooding problems actually over the past several hours. If we take a look at the storm total precipitation, we can see that we do have a few inches of rain already accumulating across sections of the Ohio River Valley. So after yesterday's rain as well, obviously that is going to pack up those rain totals quite a bit, so some isolated localized street flooding cannot be ruled out. And then we also have had some problems with flooding back into areas like West Virginia, alright? You can see all those little blue and green icons there up over the state. Those are all reports of flooding, alright? We've had quite a bit of wind damage out here as well. But the more notable thing is these power outages out here. Now, this is not caused by severe weather. It's not caused by damaging winds or anything like that. If you were watching yesterday's stream, you will know we had a big freezing rain event play out here across sections of the Mid-Atlantic region that was even more impactful than we were originally expecting, and it did end up causing tens of thousands of power outages across sections of Appalachia, areas like Virginia, all the way back through Ohio. So we've definitely got to be on the lookout here. Obviously, a lot of folks may not know really what's going on, but if you know anybody out here, right, that could be traveling across the interstates or even just the highways, make sure to let them know what's going on, because very slick conditions out there today. Again, we kind of talked about how this freezing rain was going to fall overnight, so people wouldn't really know whenever they woke up in the morning that things were going to be bad, and that is exactly what happened, unfortunately. So give me just a second here. Let me go ahead and see if I can get stream chat up now. And it looks like we can not. Okay, let's try this on the YouTube website then. Okay. So here we go. So how's everybody doing today? Good to see the usual crowd back in here once again. How's it going, folks? I'm sorry if I'm not like in my flow today. I've just got that feeling, you know, where I'm just not really in the swing of things quite like I usually am. I don't know why. So sorry if I'm a little bit more, you know, incoherent than usual, or if I say something that doesn't make sense, just forgive me. What's up, Nolly, Cardboard, Indiana, Bill, and Arcs Asylum? How's it going? Again, make sure to share this stream on all social media platforms, because nobody else right now is live for this event except for us here at the Davis's Weather Channel. So the folks that need this coverage out here in southern Kentucky are definitely going to want to know the latest updates on that watch potential, and also the severe storm that we have ongoing right now near the Harlan area. So let me go ahead and get a community post created for this. Let's say live now with severe weather. Alrighty. And let's also go ahead and throw a Twitter post out there. And again, I encourage you guys to do the same if you know anybody out here in areas like Appalachia. Let them know what's going on. Make sure to send them this stream, because this is something that nobody else has gone live for. We actually did have a flash flood emergency last night for Charleston, West Virginia, which, if you don't know, is the highest level of flash flood warning that exists and is only issued whenever we have catastrophic flooding conditions ongoing or expected imminently. So definitely some significant flooding last night across the Charleston, West Virginia metro. But again, really the entire state of West Virginia had to deal with some of that. You can see everywhere from areas like Charleston all the way back through the northern sections of West Virginia, there through the Appalachian Mountains. We had significant flooding rains, and a lot of that was actually from freezing rains falling overnight and then melting in the morning, and then you get the additional rain with these severe storms, and it creates a huge mess, and that mess was kind of centered right over the Charleston, West Virginia metro area, right? So very unfortunate situation. Again, the green dots there are flash flood reports. The blue dots are flood reports in general, but they all mean significant flooding has been ongoing, right? So we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now, but it is for this same storm here near Harlan, Kentucky. It's just an extension onto the Virginia side of the state line here. So Pennington Gap, areas like Jonesville along Highway 58 here, make sure you are getting indoors immediately. Some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds ongoing. Again, right now this is the only severe storm that we do have, but we do have some storms with special weather statements back into sections of western Kentucky and northwest Tennessee. Those are basically issued whenever we have storms that aren't quite severe, but they are still worth noting, and noting that they do have some damaging potential with them. So one of those right now going over Clarksville, Tennessee. We've also got one of them back up towards the northeast, towards areas like Bowling Green, Kentucky. But really, all these little supercells out here are going to have the potential to produce gusty winds, small hail, heavy rain, and lightning. So everybody out here in this area, make sure that you are prepared if anything does take a turn for the worse. But luckily, we are expecting most of the severe potential to stay off to your east, and especially off to your southeast there for this event. So again, right now, the one severe storm that we've really got to watch is right up along the Kentucky-Virginia state line there in the Harlan area. How's it going, everybody? What's up, Davin? Let me go ahead and share this. Alrighty, so again, that mesoscale discussion does actually mention the threat for damaging winds, large hail, and even a few tornadoes going later into this evening across sections of the Tennessee and Ohio River valleys. The specific threats with this, according to the Storm Prediction Center, the worst case scenario would be we end up seeing tornadoes that have, you know, decently strong wind speeds of anywhere between 85 to 115 miles an hour. Damaging winds from 55 to 70 miles an hour will definitely be possible, and then also quarter-sized hail all the way up to golf ball size hail is possible there, according to the Storm Prediction Center. Now note, this is a very new experimental feature, and it does say most probable peak intensity. That does not always mean that that is going to be exactly what the peak is. We definitely could see some damaging winds over 70 miles an hour, some hail over golf ball size, and maybe an isolated strong tornado over 115 mile an hour gust, but I wouldn't bet on that. So again, convective trends are being monitored here for the possibility of a watch. You can see this is what things were looking like whenever this mesoscale discussion got issued, and since then things have really really started to ramp up, right? So again, we got to really be on the lookout here for this event. But again, damaging winds, large-scale tornadoes, they're all going to be a threat for later this evening and into the nighttime hours as well. It's 10:36 p.m. here in France. Again, where's everybody tuning in from? Let me know so that we know what areas to watch out for. Again, we're mainly going to be focused on areas like Kentucky. We do have a new special weather statement for Litchfield, Kentucky. This is for the threats of damaging winds and some half-inch sized hail there. So if you're in that area, make sure that you are moving indoors immediately. But yeah, again, our slate risk of severe weather there includes several million people across central Tennessee. It includes areas like Nashville, Murfreesboro, Franklin, Hendersonville, Columbia, Tennessee. Areas like Knoxville are kind of just along the line of the slight and marginal risk, but you might as well include yourself in that slight risk there because it does say that within 25 miles of any given point, you could end up seeing some significant severe weather, right? And Knoxville is within 25 miles of our slight risk, obviously. So, all right, see you, Bill. Thank you for tuning in. Again, we have got ourselves quite an event to watch here as we go later into the evening time hour, so I hope you guys will be along for the journey with me. Again, I'm not sure if this is going to be split up into multiple small streams. I'm not sure if this is just going to be one big stream. We'll kind of have to see as we go on here, because storm initiation time has gone back and forth for this event according to the models over the past day or so. It is also worth noting that winter storm watches have been issued for sections of the upper Midwest and the northern plains, as a big-time winter storm is going to make its way through this region over the next several days, bringing heavy snow. We've also got blizzard warnings in effect for sections of North Dakota and the Michigan UP. We do have storm under media actually right now out in northeastern California chasing, so we could actually bring that up in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen really quickly. So actually give me just a second, and we'll go ahead and get that pulled up for you guys. Again, sorry I didn't have this ready. I was just trying to get here as fast as possible for you guys, because, again, nobody's live right now, so I want to make sure that we do have somebody covering this situation as it happens, because it's not like this is going to be an insignificant event, all right? This is going to be the type of event where damaging winds could definitely down trees, down power lines, and if we end up seeing a tornado, obviously, that could be very significant as well. We had some large hail last night, and we definitely could have some more later today. In fact, large hail is actually looking like it could be one of the greatest threats with this system, interestingly enough, obviously. We were not expecting that, but here we are, right? So let's go ahead and throw Storm Under Media's stream up here in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. But to do that first, we are going to have to push our severe warning counter up to the north. Feels weird saying the north, considering this is literally a two-dimensional screen, but you know what I mean. Make the height 450. You guys are really getting to see the behind-the-scenes here of how this stuff always ends up working. Okay. We'll X that out of there. Alrighty. And there we go. We got Storm Under Media stream up, so we'll go ahead and full screen that. And there we go. We are smooth sailing from this point forward, hopefully. So there we go. We got live Storm Chaser, Storm Under Media right now in Northeast California as our atmospheric river continues to devastate the northern portion of the state here. We're also talking about some ongoing flooding continuing across areas like the west coast of California, but most of that obviously has come over the past couple days in general. It's not like it's all starting to happen at once here. And we do still have a somewhat high wildfire potential out in sections of New Mexico, Arizona, and even Texas, as we are still seeing those extremely dry conditions, obviously, and a little bit of wind out there as well, especially in the higher elevations. That's where you'd really have to look out for any sort of major wildfire threat. But fire weather watching... sorry about that. Sorry about that. Fire weather watches are in place there for portions of New Mexico. Sorry, I have chat filtered onto the top messages. I want to make sure that we're seeing all messages there. There we go. We have fire weather watches in effect for sections of New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle, and then some red flag warnings even in effect for southeast Colorado, which, if you don't know, is basically one step up from a fire weather watch. It's kind of like the equivalent of a severe thunderstorm watch to a severe thunderstorm warning. This is a fire weather watch, and then this is a red flag warning, which means that wildfire conditions are definitely going to be more probable, right? So give me just a second. But yeah. So again, let's go back over here to southeastern Kentucky, since that is where we do have our ongoing severe thunderstorm warning. What's up, Mr. Twister? Again, the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Harlan, Kentucky for the next 19 minutes, and then Pennington Gap for the next 49 minutes here. Let's kind of shrink this severe thunderstorm warning counter down to size. There we go. And let's... what else do we want to do with that? What was I going to do? Oh yeah, change it to 2. It's that simple. I just blanked out completely there for a second. Again, I'm not in my flow. I don't know why, but anyways, that doesn't matter. Right now, what we have to worry about is this severe weather threat. Again, we're likely not going to end up seeing anything too crazy, but damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour are going to be possible across pretty much the entire state of Tennessee later tonight. Again, according to the ARRR, we're going to definitely be looking out for areas right up along the Kentucky-Tennessee state line for a great severe weather threat, as that's the area that's going to have the most cape and wind shear overlap. But discrete supercells really anywhere in sections of Kentucky as well could have that potential to become strong to severe briefly. And then also, we definitely could have some severe storms off to the south of our main cluster as well, and our main line at a certain point, obviously. But again, we're mainly going to be watching areas in Tennessee for the most part here. But again, right now we are focused in on sections of southeast Kentucky and southwestern Virginia. Now, the good news is that this is just a little baby supercell. It's not like some major storm causing, significant damage at the moment that we know of, at least. But you should still make sure that you are moving indoors, as this storm does have the potential to intensify rapidly here, because we do have a little bit of surface-based cape for this thing to play around with, over 1,000 joules per kilogram, and wind shear obviously is not too much of an issue either. The main reason that we didn't see anything too crazy last night other than one tornado was because we did have a huge lack of cape, but today we do have those cape values again, getting 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram across sections of eastern Kentucky and northern Tennessee. So, Diffs, I don't think I'll be here for the whole because of homework. Yeah, that's good. Let me get a chat message pulled up here. Give me just a sec. Sorry, give me just a second here. Alrighty. Hail is falling near Harlan. Yeah, we do have our severe thunderstorm warning there mentioning the threat for hail up to quarter size, and based off of reflectivity values and everything like that, I would not be surprised to see some small hail in that storm. If we take a look at the vertically integrated liquid signatures, we can see that we do have a small swath of hail there over sections of southeast Kentucky areas like Harlan, and that will continue to push southeastward here over the next little while as well, heading towards, again, the Pennington Gap area, the Jonesville area. Hey, Gatita with the $5 donation. W. Gatita in the chat. Thank you very much. Again, donations are completely optional, guys, but they are greatly appreciated, so thank you to those that go above and beyond and do donate to the channel here. It helps out our cause, and it helps me know that this could be a potential career option for me in the future, because this is something that I've been dreaming about for a long time now. So anyway, let's go ahead and get you thrown up on the donation board, so give me just a second here. Gatito with the $5 donation. Again, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Awesome stuff. Alrighty. So let's move that down. There we go. What's up, Xander, Chris? So again, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect here for the next 15 minutes for Harlan, Kentucky, and then a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued as well for sections of southwest Virginia for this storm, if it were to continue to be severe, which there's a good chance of that happening due to our elevated cape levels out here, and again, a little bit of wind shear as well. We're mainly watching the Highway 58 corridor right now, so if you know anybody that may be traveling in this area, make sure to let them know that this is coming their way. Again, it's not anything that's going to be extremely damaging or something like that, but it is going to be kind of just to the point where we are going to have to watch out, make sure that you're being careful driving, because reduced visibility is definitely going to be a big thing, and then potentially that threat for travel to be difficult for high-profile vehicles as well. Now, this is actually really interesting. Just east of Clarksville now, this storm has really started to take a classic supercell shape as it approaches I-24 there, and it actually does look to be developing some rotation too in the velocities. So if you're in this area, just be on the lookout, because while there's no immediate threat for a tornado with this. I don't like the way that things are looking here. I think that we've really got to look out, because this is not something that we see storms do very often, where they don't try to develop some sort of rotation. So again, you don't have to, take shelter or anything, but just do be careful, because this is going to be somewhat concerning over the next few minutes, potentially, if it continues to take that shape on reflectivity and has a velocity couplet like that. Again, that is a crazy looking hook echo there again. If you're not aware what's happening, we have inflow winds going into the storm here. That's kind of what's making this storm take like a hook shape. We call this a hook echo feature, and it is usually indicative of some significant rotation with the thunderstorm. And if we take a look at the velocities here, we do see that we may have a little bit of that just off to the northeast of Medallion Acres, southwest of Red River Estates, west of the Interstate 24 area. And that's going to continue to push eastward here over the next several minutes. So again, if you're in this area, make sure that you are on the lookout. We definitely could see this try to develop further over the next little while. This is definitely something that I was not expecting to happen this quickly. This is, again, pretty interesting to see. Is there a setting on Radar Omega Mobile that notifies you when a tornado warning is issued? Yes. If you go ahead and turn on, or I guess if you're talking about like push notifications, you can only do that for like specific areas, unfortunately. How does Northwest Georgia look? So Northwest Georgia should be safe from any sort of severe weather threat, but based on the HRRR run here that we just got to come in, there is definitely going to be that threat for some potentially, weaker thunderstorms and just rain in general to come your way later tonight into the early morning hours of tomorrow. By midnight, we may have a few little thunderstorms out there in like the Dalton area, and then those will continue to push southeast. But again, there's not going to be any sort of wind shear out here that's going to let these sustain themselves for very long, so there's no real need to worry or anything. Just be prepared for maybe some rain, maybe a little clap of thunder out there tonight in northwestern Georgia, and depending on where you're at, you may not end up seeing anything. Again, the further north you are, the greater your threat is there for some rain and thunderstorms potentially, but again, for the most part, unless you are in like the northwest corner of Georgia, then you should be just fine. So let's go back over here to our Clarksville storm, because again, this is actually looking pretty interesting. Again, this is not something that we see our storms do very often. This is very interesting, because it's hard to tell if this is really some sort of major hook echo or if it's just the general shape of the storm, but it does look to me like this is definitely rotating quite a bit. So again, if you're out here in this area, make sure that you are, on guard. Make sure that you're aware. Obviously, this area has dealt with some significant tornadoes recently. In December 2023, we had some significant tornadoes in northern Tennessee. Clarksville, Tennessee got hit by an EF3. Springfield, Tennessee got hit by an EF2. So really all around here, everybody should be up to date with what they're supposed to do in any sort of tornadic situation. But in case you don't know, what we want you to do in case a tornado warning does get issued is you need to get on the lowest floor of a sturdy building in an interior room. That means you need to get into the middle of your house, preferably. Again, if you've got like a basement or something, that would be the most ideal place to go and the safest place to go. But if you don't, and you've just got like a bathroom or a closet in the middle of your house, that will suffice almost just as well. But again, we see these tornado damage photos. We always see, destroyed houses and anything. Sometimes, if there is one thing that stands, it is always one of those rooms in the middle of the house with sturdy walls. It's always a bathroom or a closet or something. So that's where we kind of want you to be if you do end up in a dangerous situation today. Luckily, it looks like this storm's kind of caving in on itself. It's not really continuing like we were worried it would. Again, it looks like a little cell merger here, kind of cut off its path almost. So that's good. We'll see if that kind of intensifies it or if it just kind of kills it. I think killing it is the more likely scenario, but again, we do have to be careful just in case. What's up, Mr. Storm? Mr. Storm, I don't know if you're good to call right now or not, but if you'd like to hop on stream, just give me a ring. Again, I don't know if you're good to call or not, so sorry for throwing you on the spot like this, but if you'd like to, feel free to call me up. So again, severe thunderstorm warning continues for Harlan, Kentucky here for the next several minutes, and then that will continue to race over to the Kentucky-Virginia state line. Again, making its way over Highway 421, approaching the Pennington Gap area, Jonesville. Even areas north of this severe thunderstorm warning here in Virginia definitely could get in on some rain and some lightning. Areas like Shepherd Hill, I'd be on the lookout. This storm is moving so slowly, though, that I think that by the time this storm actually makes its way into Virginia, they're going to have to reissue this severe thunderstorm warning again, just because it is very slow moving. So if you do have like a NOAA weather radio or anything that's providing you with these alerts, if you do get another severe thunderstorm warning soon, don't be surprised. It's not something bad. It is just the severe warning being reissued for the same storm. It's not like there's another storm coming in or anything like that. It's just this was moving a lot slower ever since that got issued. So again, just be on the lookout. But let's go back over to our Clarksville storm, as that continues to take a somewhat devious-looking shape there. Again, not quite as bad at this point, but still nothing to play around with or dismiss quite yet, I'd say. Let me actually grab something really quickly. I will be right back in just a second here. Alrighty, everybody, we are back. Just grab my iPad so that we can read chat here. So again, let me know where y'all are tuning in from. Alrighty, so waiting for the next reflectivity scan to come out here. It should be any minute now. Again, very interesting storm to say the least. Alright, you're good, Mr. Storm. Do I want to chase storms when I'm older? Yeah, that would be the dream. Honestly, 5% tour risk did verify. Well, we can't really say that yet since we have only had one tornado. Eastern Tennessee tuning in. Glad to see you here. Eastern Tennessee, again, that's going to be an area that we're watching even as early as the next couple hours, but really all the way into tonight. If we take a look at the HRRR model once more, we can see that, again, that 21Z run is now coming in, but the 20Z run here is going to show some thunderstorms over sections of Eastern Tennessee really all throughout the evening, but the biggest batch with the greatest threat for any sort of wind or hail threat would come around 7, 8 p.m. there, depending on where you're at, maybe even 9 p.m. at the latest for the Knoxville area. You nailed on the ice in Northwest Illinois. Thank you, Alan, for the $2 donation. Get a W out in the chat. I'm very glad about that. Again, it was really an overnight event, which are the most dangerous kinds whenever it comes to ice, because whenever we have stuff like that, people go to bed sometimes not realizing that they're expecting a big freezing rain event in the morning, because not everybody checks the forecast. So they wake up, they start driving as if nothing's going on, and they are sliding all over the place. They're like, what the heck's going on? And that's how a lot of these accidents start whenever we have that freezing rain out there. So it's very important to keep everybody up to date on situations and events like that. Even if we didn't have the severe weather event, we probably would have gone live last night to forecast for that. But again, thank you very much, Alan, for the $2 donation. Again, donating is optional, guys, but I do really appreciate those of you that go above and beyond clicking that dono button. But again, everybody that tunes in, subscribes, it helps just as much, just in different ways. So again, I really do appreciate that as well. Speaking of which, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe. We do this every day for areas all across the country. We talk about severe weather, tornadoes, hurricanes, winter storms, everything like that. So if you're interested in that stuff, or if you have been looking for a good forecasting channel for your area, make sure to click that subscribe button, because we will give you day-to-day updates on everywhere across the country and what's going on. Again, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. But yeah. So, again, that supercell continuing near Harlan, Kentucky there. It's a little baby supercell. It's just now crossing the Kentucky-Virginia state line. Again, areas near Pennington Gap. Get ready to make sure that you're moving indoors. Again, some small hail and gusty winds can definitely be expected from that storm there. We are so close to the radar site that it does look like the hail threat's a lot smaller than what the National Weather Service is saying, but sometimes that just happens whenever we get really close to the radar. So it's likely that this storm is definitely producing some large hail, even if the radar doesn't say it. So let's go back over to our Clarksville storm, as it has had a little bit of a devious shape in the past few scans. Again, it's starting to fall apart, but I mean, this scan here really made me think that this was going to be significant, but well, to be fair, I did say probably, and I mean, in general, did we really deserve 2 slight risk days in a row? I mean, sure, damaging winds and large hail, slight risk, I get that, but we've only had 1 tornado, so I don't really know if that prompts a 5% tour risk, but I don't know. We may even have a little bit of rotation trying to develop with our storm here, but again, it is heavily contaminated, so we'll see. Again, bottom right-hand corner of your screen is a live look at Storm Hunter Media. They are traveling through northeastern California right now, chasing the atmospheric river event that we've been watching for the past few days. Again, right now they are in Soda Springs, California. Look at all that snow they've got there. Crazy stuff. Again, mountainous California has been getting hit hard lately. What's coming in Virginia? So, again, kind of western Virginia, we're going to be looking out for some isolated strong to severe storms throughout the evening time hours. But everywhere else, we're just really going to be watching out for some flooding rains due to really heavy, thunderstorms and stuff like that. Later tonight, it would be a really late nighttime event for you guys. If you're talking about, like, western Virginia, again, that could kind of start up as early as 6 p.m. But if you're talking about, the eastern end of Virginia, you may not see anything until, 3 a.m. So, again, just look out for some heavy rain, maybe cause some isolated flooding, especially in sections of central Virginia, but it shouldn't be anything too major for the most part. And again, the severe weather threat should really not be anything too crazy either, but do be prepared for some heavy rain, certainly overnight. So let's go back to our Clarksville storm. Again, traveling over I-24 as we speak. It's got a pretty interesting shape at this point. Again, definitely not nearly as devious as it looked before. This is just a little progression of that supercell, by the way. Here we can kind of see it making its way from the Kentucky state line about an hour ago. We've been lucky so far. Yeah, you haven't really had to deal with anything thus far, but you will certainly deal with some rain later tonight. Depending on what portion of Virginia you're in. But for the most part, Virginia will be seeing rain across most of the state. So, again, our storm over towards Harlan is continuing to cross the Kentucky-Virginia state line. It's moving towards Pennington Gap. Again, continuing to ride down Highway 421 as we speak. Again, maybe some broad rotation there, but it is quite contaminated, so it's very hard to say. But it almost does look like it's trying to develop some sort of hook here on radar, so we'll see. Again, it is discreet and has quite a bit of cape to play around with, so we'll see what happens. Davis, when do you think Dixie Alley's next severe weather event will be? So that's actually a really interesting question because there's a good chance that it's actually not going to be too far away from now. If we pull up Tropical Tidbits on your screen here in just a second, we can see that we are expecting another system very similar to this one to come through the Ohio Valley quite soon with snow and freezing rain. But you'll notice here, what's all that? Maybe some thunderstorms down into sections of the Tennessee Valley, maybe even as far south as Dixie Alley. So we'll see what happens. Again, it'll mostly be like a northern Dixie Alley event, if anything. It depends on what you consider Dixie Alley. I've had people tell me that Tennessee is Dixie. Other people say it isn't. But it'll kind of be very similar to what we've had this time around, although we will have a lot much more snow in the northern section of this system here. So we did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that is going to be for our Kentucky storm. They did actually have to go ahead and reissue that, as again, this is a very slow-moving storm. I mean, it's not like this thing is racing off to the east or anything. I did use that term earlier, but I didn't mean that in terms of speed. So again, we'll continue to watch out for this. Again, severe thunderstorm warning now just issued. This is for south central Harlan County for the next 15 minutes. Again, Cowood. Harlan is okay at this point. The storm has passed Harlan. You do have a few other little cells coming your way, though, so I wouldn't, put you completely in the clear quite yet. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really figured it was our Clarksville storm getting warned, as it is exiting the special weather statement box here, but it does look like it could probably continue with another special weather statement. Nothing makes me think that this is severe quite yet. It's just a big thunderstorm in general. All right, Mr. Storm is going to be joining us here in just a second. All right, let's have him pop up. Yeah, scary indeed, Richard. Alright. Yo, what's up? Good. Your audio is like... Oh, hold on. Say something.
Hello?
Alright, there we go.
Can I call you back in 1 second on Discord? Because that's going to make...
Yeah, you're good.
Alright.
Alright, give us just a sec here, chat. Currently ran up Mr. Storm. Alright, there we go. Alrighty. Hold up, say something real quick.
Test.
Alright, there we go.
I'm plugging my better mic, so it should stay a second.
Alright, bet. So they did just issue a special weather statement for that cell, again, off to the west of our severe warn 1. As we were mentioning, there's another little cell here heading towards the Harlan area. This is a new special weather statement for gusty winds up to 40 miles an hour and hail up to half-inch size. Again, it may try to take a little similar track here to our last supercell that we just had move through this area. So if you just got hit by the last one, be prepared. There's another one coming your way.
What are everyone? How you guys doing? Let's pull up radar here.
Again, it does look like we have a little elevated pocket of winds here with our storm moving towards Springfield, Tennessee. Gusty winds up to 50, maybe even 55, 60 miles an hour. Can't be ruled out with this storm. We also have quite a bit of lightning production, which may be indicative of some intensification, so we'll see what happens with that. But again, it's just continuing to ride down I-24 right now, so areas on the north side of Nashville, areas like the northern outer suburbs, alright? We're talking about, Cottontown, Gallatin, Greenbrier, Shackle Island. Mainly areas like that are where we're going to be watching for this storm to travel through. And again, it's mainly just going to bring some rain, some wind, some hail, nothing too crazy. There's no real tornado threat with it at this point. It did kind of take that, tornadic classic supercell shape earlier, but if we take a look at the HRRR here and we take a look at the Cape values, we can see we really don't have a whole lot of that out here. Okay, sure, we've got 1,000, maybe 1,100, 1,200 joules per kilogram of Cape in this area, but usually that's not going to be enough to fire off any sort of major tornado threat.
Yeah. Alright, so if you're in Springfield, this is coming up to you guys quickly. This is going to cross, is that Highway 431?
Yeah. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Then they could severe warn it?
No, because it's only weakened since that special weather statement was issued for it earlier, so there's no real chance that they severe warn it unless it really goes crazier over the next few scans.
Yeah. Obviously, do have our cluster storms down to Louisville, Kentucky, near Litchfield, Caneyville. Alright, that is also producing lightning, and could be some small hail within that, so just make sure you are getting indoors and away from windows if you're in that area. It's going to be riding along Highway 62.
Yeah, again, for that cluster of storms, we're mainly going to be watching for areas like Litchfield, Elizabethtown, Radcliffe, areas along the I-65 corridor there in between, say, Glasgow all the way up through Louisville, Kentucky. We definitely could be talking about some strong thunderstorms over the next few hours here. And if we take a look at this, we can see that these storms really only popped up just recently on the radar, and they've kind of strengthened quite a bit since then. So, again, we'll continue to watch out for that. We've been dealing with severe storms pretty much all day long here, everywhere from sections of southern Illinois back through areas like Tennessee and Virginia. So pretty widespread event here across sections of the Ohio River Valley. And again, it's going to get more intense here as we go later into the evening time hours as Cape values start to peak and more storms do start to pop up here. According to the HRRR model, again, by 8 p.m. we can be expecting a big-time damaging wind event for sections of Kentucky and Tennessee, as well as parts of Virginia as well. But before then, while those storms are still somewhat discreet, by 6 p.m. especially, I'd say that may be the peak time frame where we have to watch out for maybe an isolated tornado or something. If anybody's wondering, Davis, where do you think there would be a good tornado threat or a somewhat significant tornado threat for us to have tonight? I really wouldn't say anywhere has a crazy chance, but if I had to guess, anywhere from southeast Kentucky back through kind of northeast/east central Tennessee would have the greatest chance for an isolated tornado, if you were to ask me. Again, anywhere from kind of Knoxville, Tennessee, all the way back up through Campbellsville, Kentucky, I would not rule out an isolated tornado overnight, or not overnight, but in the evening time hours here. Again, we did have that tornado earlier today in central Kentucky that actually ended up doing quite a bit of damage. Again, we're still getting reports from that coming in, and I don't remember exactly where that was at. But it was quite a significant debris signature. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, and that is going to be going out for sections of eastern Kentucky here once again. That is going out for, let's see here, Cumberland, Kentucky. A little separate cell here has developed kind of branched off from our main storm that we have, which, by the way, about a scan ago, we had a big-time hail spike with that one, 70-plus dBZs, so there's a good chance, actually, that southern cell is producing some significant hail. But this storm off to the north now does have a severe thunderstorm warning for Cumberland. Again, it does now have 70-plus dBZs. That's going to be riding up Highway 119, so if you're in Lynch, Cumberland, Whitesburg, Macon, make sure that you are getting indoors immediately. We've got some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds, and I would not be surprised to see that get upgraded somewhat soon either, as again, it does look like this does have a pretty significant hail core with it. What's up, Michelle from Cincinnati? What's up, Dwayne from Claremont? We have clear skies in Claremont, Virginia. The temperature is up to 49 degrees. Don't remember exactly where Claremont is. Let me look for it here. I know we looked for it just yesterday, but let's see. That is Claremont, California, not Claremont, Virginia. Claremont, Virginia. Yeah, so we're mainly just going to be talking about some rain really late in the nighttime hours tonight, like 1, 2 a.m. for you. No sort of real severe weather threat out there, but we definitely could be looking at some rain and maybe an isolated rumble of thunder or something like that if the storms do overperform. Yeah, we do have Cyclone Vince currently. That is, I did not realize it was at Category 5 status, but out there in the Indian Ocean.
Didn't see that. Yeah, if you're north of Cumberland right now, this storm, you should be good from this storm, but if you look to your west, you actually do have two little blips that are popping up here. Now, this is a pretty, it's going into a more unfavorable environment as temperatures are a lot lower down here. Right, but just the fact that we have a little bit of, severe activity in this general area definitely means that anything can happen with these. So, if you're down the line all the way back into, portions of extreme eastern Kentucky and far western Virginia, just make sure you're staying weather aware because obviously these storms have been producing some large hail and damaging winds.
Yeah, for sure. And again, the two ones that we have that are severe one right now, we have the one that's crossing the Kentucky-Virginia state line moving towards the Pennington Gap area, and then the other one off to the north is going to be traveling closer to Cumberland. Now, this one is probably just going to scrape the south side of Cumberland, but do look out because that is where we are watching for the greatest hail threat on the northern part of that storm there. So, again, make sure that you are getting indoors if you're along Highway 119 there, anywhere between Payne Gap all the way back through Nolensburg, as this storm is really going to be causing some havoc here likely in the mountains of Kentucky over the next several minutes. Again, we've kind of got a few cells developing down here in southeast Kentucky that are overperforming just a little bit. Again, we weren't ruling out the potential for any sort of crazy storms down here, but it is a little bit surprising in the fact that the coverage is so widespread. We've had a ton of severe storms out here earlier this morning in southeast Kentucky, and again, now we've just got these supercells popping up out of nowhere here. Again, we do have quite high Cape values up. We've got decent lapse rates as well, and then wind shear obviously is not anything crazy, but it is significant out here, so that's kind of what's firing our storms. So we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning here for that Cumberland storm that just got the severe thunderstorm warning. That is for Wise, Norton, Appalachia, and Pound in Virginia. Again, it's not a new storm or anything, but they do have to reissue the severe thunderstorm warning as it is starting to, it is two different National Weather Services that are issuing these, two different National Weather Service offices, that is, so they have to have two different warning polygons for this one storm here. So again, now areas like Appalachia, Wise, Norton, Pound, be prepared for the next hour or so to potentially have to look out for some severe weather there.
Also, that storm, by the way, is up to 70 dBZ, so that's rapidly strengthening.
Yeah, it's been there at 70 dBZs for a couple scans now, and it does look like we are going to continue to have a big-time hail threat with that storm. So, again, if you are out here in this area, make sure that you are moving indoors. If you have time out ahead of this storm, it might be worth bringing your car into the garage, something like that, just in case, because this is definitely the kind of storm where we could see some shattered windshields with those big old hailstones. Kind of surprised the National Weather Service in, I believe, Blacksburg, Virginia it is, left this at only a quarter-sized hail tag, but they did what they did. I guess it's National Weather Service Morristown, Tennessee. We're kind of right in between like 3 or 4 different National Weather Service zones out here. So again, a lot of these storms are going to end up getting multiple severe thunderstorm warnings for one storm. So that's why we've got 4 severe thunderstorm warnings right now, even though we've really only got 2 different severe storms.
And it looks like our storm in Clarksville will be heading towards the Gallatin area, so maybe the very far extreme, northeastern suburbs of Nashville. But, if you're in northern, central Tennessee, middle Tennessee, just, be aware because this is a fairly large storm in size, and it is still producing heavy rain, some small hail. and so we'll likely see another special weather statement be issued. So I believe actually, wow. So I don't know if you're looking at the Hendersonville radar, but I believe there's a small hail spike going through Springfield right now. So obviously indicative of some relatively large hail going on with that.
I don't see that. If you're talking about like the thing pointing out towards Greenbrier, that's not a hail spike. That's just a feature with the radar there. But
just contamination.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yes, definitely still a strong storm, and again, we're going to be watching that traveling across the outer northern suburbs of Nashville here over the next several minutes. Really right up along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line. There are areas like Bagginsville, Walnut Grove, Cottontown, Gallatin, Hendersonville, Shackle Island, a lot of these areas that got impacted by that December 10th, 2023 tornado. Luckily, or December 9th rather, but this storm is nothing like that, obviously. Again, we're just going to be talking about some rain, some lightning, maybe some hail, and some wind, but it is something to look out for, and again, make sure that you are just kind of prepared for this here. I know we're going to have a lot of people traveling along I-65 here over the next several minutes, as this is kind of rush hour, or starting to become rush hour anyways, across sections of north central Tennessee, so we'll watch out for that. Again, I'm not going to bet on any sort of rapid intensification with this storm, though, as it's not the craziest environment out here, and it's not fully discrete either. We've already had a merger cut off this thing's tornadic potential once, and I would not be surprised to see that happen once or twice more. So again, we'll watch out for it, but I'm almost more concerned at this point about these storms further off to the east and southeastern eastern Kentucky, just due to the sheer size of the hail with these. We did get an upgrade to our storm on the Cumberland side of the severe thunderstorm warnings for $half sized hail now, so again, that is 1.25 inch sized hail, and I would not be surprised to see hail in there even larger. I think they're being quite conservative with that, but it is going to be moving through Cumberland, Lynch, and Gordon over the next several minutes, and then again, our southern storm there is still going to be a threat for the Pennington Gap area, but it is starting to weaken out, it does look like, so we'll continue to watch out for that over the next several minutes, but yeah.
So make sure you're getting indoors and away from windows. Obviously, if you got time, you'd probably want to park your car in your garage, like David said, because this is likely large enough hail to shatter your windshield and stuff, so.
Yeah. So we did actually just get a brand new mesoscale discussion issued by the Storm Prediction Center here for sections of Tennessee, southeast Kentucky, southwestern Virginia, and northwestern North Carolina. Now, we had one of these issued earlier, and they were talking about issuing a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch with it, but luckily these afternoon time storms have not been nearly as intense as they could have been, but we do have a new mesoscale discussion now mentioning, once again, just like they were earlier, a 40% chance for a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch for areas highlighted in this big old blue circle here over the next few hours. Again, this goes everywhere from areas like Clarksville and Nashville, Tennessee, back through areas in Appalachia, so everybody out here be on the lookout over the next few hours. Prepare to have multiple ways to receive alerts in case a watch or warning does get issued for your area. Again, we prefer you have multiple ways to receive alerts. If you have like a NOAA radio or something, it would be nice to have like a wireless emergency alert on the side. You know, sirens are an okay way to get alerts, but usually not the most reliable. We've got things, you know, like the Dave says about a live stream here. Obviously, we're going to be live relaying all sorts of warnings for you guys. The Radar Omega app's a good way to do that in general. But yeah, all sorts of ways to get alerts. Just make sure that you got at least one or two of them, and you should be as prepared as you can be for an event like this. Again, if we take a look at this mesoscale discussion here in particular, we can see that we've got some stats here with this. Again, this is kind of a new beta feature here from the Storm Prediction Center, but they have started rolling out tags of possible peak intensity for all sorts of threats here, right? So we can see that we've got a tornado threat. They're mentioning tornadic gusts of 100 to 130 miles an hour, guys. Take that all with a grain of salt. Now, that doesn't mean you should completely ignore it, but it doesn't really matter what they say is going to be the peak wind gust of a tornado. Any tornado is a dangerous tornado. Just be prepared. Again, we don't really like to take the strength of tornadoes here in terms of the wind speeds for, you know, gospel or anything like that for the upcoming storms here. Now, it is a very cool feature that they are rolling out, and I do like it quite a bit, but I think it's a little misleading because obviously we definitely could have tornadoes to that intensity, but not every tornado is going to be at that intensity. So anyway, we got that. We got some damaging winds expected of 55 to 70 miles an hour. We've got hail of quarter to golf ball size as well. These are actually the exact same tags that we had for our last mesoscale discussion, or at least close to it. The tornadic threat was with the last one was a little bit lower. lower, I guess, technically. But we did have one earlier today that mentioned the 100 to 130 mile an hour gust tag. So it looks like that's kind of the third lowest tag that they can get for the tornado threat. We're kind of starting to see all these different tags come out. Because, again, this is an extremely new feature, guys. This is not like this has ever been rolled out that much before. This is a new thing that has just been rolled out over the past few weeks, and we haven't really had a lot of severe weather events to test this out. So it's pretty interesting to see these start to get issued. But yeah, again, strong to severe storm development is definitely going to be possible into the early evening time hours across sections of Appalachia, as we are going to have slightly enhanced Cape values and wind shear flowing about as well.
By the way, our storm approaching the very northern suburbs of Nashville did get another special weather statement that does include the very northeastern side of Nashville. That includes Goodlettsville, Hendersonville, Shackle Island, Cottontown, Green Beer, Jolton, and just make sure that you're getting indoors and away from windows, because that is got a special weather statement for wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and penny-size hail.
Yeah, so again, luckily that is still a sub-severe storm there, but again, we are watching for some hail and wind with that over the next little while. Again, we got quite a bit of lightning out here with it, which could be a sign of some slight intensification even, but luckily this thing is going to stay sub-severe for the near future at least. But again, areas like Walnut Grove, Cottontown, Shackle Island, even Hendersonville and Goodlettsville, make sure that you are watching out here, as we are going to have that potential to see some heavy rain and lightning in your area over the next several minutes with this storm. But again, we're more concerned at this point about these storms further off to the east here with the severe thunderstorm warning tags. Again, if you're not aware, they issue special weather statements for storms that are usually still not severe, but storms that are significant enough to note from the National Weather Service, something that folks need to be looking out for. So, again, don't ignore the special weather statements or anything, but just know that they definitely mean that it's not the strongest that a storm could possibly be, but it is a sign of a strong storm that could potentially be getting stronger over the next several minutes and potentially causing some minor damage, like down tree limbs, stuff like that.
By the way, our storm south of Clincha, which was a blip, is now exploding in activity, and so there's got to be some increase in some parameters out here, because this is obviously on the very edge of our marginal risk. So I'm telling you right now, I did not expect, full-on localized severe weather event in just this tiny corner of the marginal risk.
Yeah, I think the main thing that's causing this is the slightly higher Cape values than expected. If you actually look at the HRRR, the surface-based Cape there actually is close to 1,500 joules per kilogram, which still isn't really enough to, produce tornadoes or anything like that, but damaging winds, large hail, definitely going to be a possibility there. So again, really everywhere across eastern Kentucky, southwestern Virginia is going to have to kind of look out for that over the next several minutes. If we do have slightly higher Cape values than expected, and we still do have some wind shear in this area. Again, it's not a whole lot, but if we look at the first kilometer wind shear values, we can see that we do have a good 20 to maybe 25, upwards of, say, 30 knots in the first kilometer of the atmosphere here across sections of western and southwestern Virginia. So definitely enough to fire off some strong and severe storms there. And we do have a new mesoscale as well, mentioning flash flooding being a possibility over sections of the Ohio and Tennessee valleys with these storms as well. Again, it would mainly be in areas where we have those big old clusters of storms. So really, there's no way around it at this point. If you are in these mesoscale discussions, right, really anywhere in those green or that light blue circle there, we can see then you are either going to end up seeing flooding or severe weather. And here's why. If we end up seeing a bunch of clustered up thunderstorms together, one old big bunch of rain, obviously that won't really promote a severe weather threat, because we need discrete cells for severe weather and tornadoes, but it will produce a big time flooding threat with all that heavy rain sitting over an area for so long, since these are such slow moving storms. And if you don't end up seeing big clusters of storms and you just end up seeing those discrete little tiny supercells, those are the more dangerous ones for severe weather. Wind, hail, even tornadoes in an event like this we could end up seeing. So at this point, if you are in that green or blue circle, we can't tell you exactly what you're going to end up seeing, but it is very likely that you're going to deal with some sort of problem in terms of a thunderstorm threat or severe weather threat. So again, do be on the lookout here, but again, don't panic. By the way, our tornado from this morning in Hart County, Kentucky, there, according to Kevin, did get rated at EF1 with 95 mile an hour wind gusts at the peak. So again, that is the first tornado that we have had from this event, and potentially the only tornado. I'm going to say it right now. The chance that we do get another tornado later this evening, it is there, but I'm not going to say it's super high. All right, if we take a look at the Cape values, we can see that they're not really going to be high enough to promote any sort of widespread tornado threat. Really, the best you're going to get at this point going forward is going to be kind of 1,000 joules per kilogram, and that's going to be very localized even at that point. Now, the thing that is going to keep these storms going is wind shear. We do have quite a bit of that, and even the first kilometer of the atmosphere here. But really, even if you had, 1,000 knots of wind shear on the first kilometer of the atmosphere, it doesn't matter. If you've got no Cape, you're not getting a severe weather event. But we do have a little bit of Cape, so I'm not going to rule out the potential for an isolated tornado or two, but it's just not going to be anything widespread, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Again, the Storm Prediction Center... Sorry, go ahead.
I think storm mode south of Elizabethtown, like up into central Kentucky, is too messy for any severe activity.
Yeah, that, and also if you take a look, we, again, don't really have any Cape out here in this area. If we take a look at surface-based Cape, we can see it as, 10 joules per kilogram, so nowhere near enough to produce any sort of severe weather threat at that point. Alrighty. So we've been live now for an hour. That's crazy. Does not feel like it, but... Again, continuing to see some big hail there. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for our Pennington Gap storm. It's just an extension for the Clinchport-Duffield area. This is 4 sections of... Hey, there we go. Sam with the $2 donation. Thank you very much, W. Sam in the chat. Yes, Bob the Capybara. That's just another one of Kevin's goofy nicknames. But seriously, though, thank you, Sam, for the $2 donation. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for all your support over the past several streams. Again, donations are optional, but they are greatly appreciated. So thank you to everybody that does go above and beyond and donates. But again, if you can't, I completely understand. Subscribing helps just as much. It helps push this further in the algorithm for the folks that need this coverage. Because, again, we are the only folks live here today for this severe weather event, as far as I'm aware. Again, the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, we got Storm Under Media live, but it looks like it's frozen for whatever reason. They are chasing the atmospheric river event right now in northeastern California. Again, I don't know why, but the stream is freezing up and maybe connection issues on their end. That's really the only thing I can think of. But we'll see if that starts to work again. But anyways. So again, still a special weather statement there for our storm on the north side of Nashville, Tennessee. It's producing a whole lot of lightning, though. So obviously, if you're out here in this area, I would not encourage you to go outside. But if you're in, like, downtown Nashville, you're in an area that is safe from these storms. You're not going to have to deal with any rain or any lightning near you. But it is going to be close enough to you where you just might be able to see that. So look off to your north there and let me know if you can see any lightning, if we do have anybody watching from downtown Nashville, because that is going to be quite the light show there on the north side of the metro for sure.
Yeah. Fortunately, I think Pevy is a little too far away to see some lightning, but maybe, if he takes a drive up north, he can see a little bit of that storm.
Yeah, it'd have to be pretty far away north, though, and obviously driving through the metro is going to be quite slow, so at that point it would probably moved off to the east anyways.
Yeah.
Everybody complains about Atlanta traffic. Nashville traffic is real, guys. I've been through Nashville a lot more than I have Atlanta. Atlanta was horrible. Atlanta's way worse. I've been through there one time, and I got stuck in, like, 3 traffic jams, but Nashville still does get traffic pileups and stuff. I mean, it really is quite miserable to travel through the Nashville metro. It's such a cool place to be in. It's one of my favorite cities in the world, but it is quite slow for traveling through if you're on the way to somewhere else and you're just driving through Nashville. But yeah.
Everyone make sure you're staying weather aware out there. Because even though it doesn't have a severe warning, it's obviously still it's a sub-severe storm, but it is still a fairly strong storm, so you definitely want to make sure that you are staying safe out there.
Yeah, for sure. Again, at one time it looked like it was going to have that tornadic potential, but since then a merger has come in and kind of killed it off, and then also, just in general, this area is not super favorable for a major tornado threat or anything like that, so...
Yeah.
So, I think we're going to end off the live stream here since we don't really have any, or we do have activity, but not too much activity ongoing right now. Again, we might come back later if maybe like a tornado warning or a tornado watch gets issued or anything like that, but I'm going to say right now the chances are quite low of that since we're not really expecting this to be some sort of tornadic setup, so we'll see. We might come back later for more severe weather coverage, but that's all I've got. So, Mr. Storm, you got any final words before we end off stream here?
Just make sure that you're not caught off guard today. Obviously, more of a low-end kind of situation we got here. We don't want to underestimate the weather, so just make sure you're staying weather aware out there. Obviously, you want to make sure that you are staying, you're paying attention to, your local National Weather Service office alerts and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So again, thank you all for tuning in to this live stream. I may see you guys later tonight. If not, I will see you guys for another forecasting video tomorrow. We will have one out likely as we are expecting another system like this to travel through the United States soon. So thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.